Hey everyone, how's it going? Azrin here, owner of the Calgary Language Nerds, and welcome to today's Learn Gujarati with Me YouTube video and, of course, podcast episode. You can see same clothes, the past three videos, past three lessons. I've recorded three lessons on the same day, same night rather. I mentioned two episodes ago or two lessons ago that I was like, man, I feel really guilty. I haven't made three lessons this week. I like to make three lessons a week minimum. And I was like, oh. And then today I was like, you know what? Let's just like sit down and make three lessons. Let's just go and just get this done. Sometimes it can be a little bit perfectionistic, like just a little bit, like, oh, maybe I should make like this. I should like plan this out. I should like da da da. I was like, no, if I'm just like a little bit more easygoing, a bit more free flowing, a little bit less nitpicky with myself, I can probably get some decent lessons out a lot faster. And let's just like go laser focus. So here we are, three lessons, one night, bam. Okay. So we're going to talk about another grammar point today. This is one that um, I'm like 99% sure I haven't made any videos on or any lessons on. We've never talked about it, but it is something worth talking about. And it's something you can do to Gujarati verbs. So Gujarati verbs, as we already know, right? All the verbs. Let me share my screen. All the verbs end in vu. So if we just pop this open, here we go. All Gujarati verbs end in. We can even use Gujarati script today. I didn't do it last time, but we can do it today. They all end in vu, right? So like garvu, for example, right? Oops, right? Garvu, right? Garvu is to do. Garvu to do. Right? Garvu is to do, or like I don't know, whatever. I can't think of any verbs right now. Oh my goodness. Uh, um, chalvu, for example. Chalvu is to walk, right? To walk, so on and so forth, right? We know this, easy peasy stuff. We've covered this before. So this is how verbs end in Gujarati. But did you know that in Gujarati, we also have verbs that end in avu, not vu, but avu. So I'll give you an example. We could do karavu as an example. We can do, I don't know, bolavu, right? Bolavu is a verb. So avu, we have these avu endings. Now again, avu, it's when you have an avu ending, it still ends in u, the vu sound. So that's still there. But something you may not have realized is that you can add pretty much to any Gujarati verb. You can make it end in avu instead of vu. So we have karvu, karavu, um, bolvu, bolavu, right? Um, chalvu, chalavu. A little bit different, tiny bit. Chalvu, chalavu is a tiny bit different, right? Chalvu, chalavu. They sound a little different, but same concept, right? Chalvu, chalavu, or like pretty much every verb, you can make it end in avu instead of vu. So the question becomes, why the heck would we do that? Why? What happens if you make karavu, lakavu? Like, what happens when you make a verb end in avu? Well, let me tell you what happens. When we when we make a verb end in avu, what it does is it means that you make someone else do it, right? You make someone else do it. Let me just share my screen here. 1 second. Oopsies, what happened there? Okay, here we go. Perfect. Right. So if we look at this little ChatGPT page, right? So again, when we have a normal verb, right, it means that the subject performs the action. So hu kam karu chu, I am working. I'm the one who's doing the working, right? Me, Azrin, right? But if we have what they call in technical terms, at least according to ChatGPT, by the way, as a random tangent, ChatGPT is decent at Gujarati, but boy, sometimes it just likes to make stuff up. I don't know if causative, it's kind of funny, like it uses the word causative. I have no idea if that's the right word. I actually kind of suspect it's not the right word, but it doesn't matter. We'll use it for now. So this causative, quote unquote, is where the subject causes another person to perform the action. So like, I'll give you this example here. Ene kaam karavu chu. I'm making him do the work. I'm having him do the work, not me, right? Ene kaam karavu chu. Like I'm making someone else do it, right? And so that's what happens. We take a verb, we make it end in avu and not just vu, and that means you make someone else do it. So most of the time we just have avu. That's usually how it ends. We have some Uh, we have some verbs that end a little bit differently. Um, so for example, I'll give you a couple here. Like, actually, in fact, I don't need to share my screen. Oh my God, I'll just show you here. I have it on ChatGPT, which is very convenient. Uh, Here we go. So, like for example, besfu is to sit, but besaravu, right? Besaravu, right? Besaravu is to seat someone else, right? Besaravu. Utvu, utvu is to get up, but uttaravu is to wake someone up. Uttaravu, right? Uttaravu. Um, it's not here, but I'll give you another one. Like, another one could be like suvu is to sleep, but suvravu is to uh make someone sleep. And actually, suvravu I should probably show over here actually. 1 second here. This one here. Suvravu actually fits into this pattern, which is very similar, right? So kavu turns to kavravu, right? So kavravu. So we get this vravu. Sounds kind of funny. A vravu pattern. Let me type that for those who can't read the Gujarati script. It's like vravu. I know it looks funny and whatever, but vravu, kavravu to feed someone, bivravu to feed someone liquid, I guess, like to make you drink some liquid, right? I told you earlier, suvravu, right? Suvravu, put someone to sleep, right? Put someone to bed, suvravu. But generally, it's just gonna be avu. It's just gonna be avu, like I already told you, like bolavu to call someone, or like karavu to make someone do something. My favorite one of all time, my favorite one. It's the funniest one to me. It's so funny, so funny. If we take something like chalvu, right? So chalvu is to walk, right? But we have another verb which is chalavu. Chalavu is to drive, right? And you go, wait a second, chalvu, chalavu. You've taken chalvu and you added avu to it. Wait, so chalavu is to make someone else walk? Wait, well, yeah. When you drive a car, you're making your car do the walking for you. Gadi chalau chu. I'm making the car walk for me. Chalau chu gadi, right? I'm making it walk. Yeah. I'm the one. I'm the big man in the car, big boss, making this car walk for me. I'm not walking. I just push the gas pedal and it goes for me, right? So that's kind of where at least I think, no one's ever actually taught me that. It's like once I kind of noticed, I noticed this avu pattern probably, I don't know, 5 years ago. I was like, oh yeah, this is a thing. This is a thing. I probably noticed it 5 years ago. And I was like, oh my God, chalavu probably means to make the car walk. Wow, I never realized that. Huh, right? I never realized that. Wow, how fascinating. I was like, oh, that's so cool. So yeah, that's like a little grammar point to be aware of. You've probably already seen it or heard it and didn't know what it was. Now you do. And yeah, that's kind of that. To wrap up today's lesson, I'll share a little anecdote, a little story. Maybe this will be helpful for one or two of you. Maybe I don't know. Um, so me in Gujarati, like if you don't know my story, so I grew up in Canada. Oh, I got a Canada shirt today. Look at me, Canada. So I grew up in Canada. Ta-da! My family is Gujarati. I grew up speaking Gujarati with them, but I mixed a lot of English. We mixed some Swahili as well. My family originally, my family lived in East Africa and in Uganda for a long time, a couple generations. And so they mix some Swahili and like they've been in Canada for a long time, so they mix a lot of English. And like then I made mistakes in Gujarati growing up just because I don't know, I just didn't get it, or who knows, right? And so by the time I was a teenager, like I spoke Gujarati, but I really only spoke in a way where my family could understand me. If I spoke to someone else, they kind of had a difficult time. And if they talked to me, I would probably have a difficult time understanding them. Um, and so when I started to actually learn Gujarati, like I was like, I'm going to study this and like really get this language figured out, like actually try and speak it properly, not just this. The joke people would make about my Gujarati when I was younger, the joke people made was my Gujarati was a khichdi Gujarati. Khichdi is that food, right? The khichdi. I'm sure you've seen it, like the rice with the lentils in it, right? Um, all these different things, right? So khichdi Gujarati. It'd be like saying it's a like a hodgepodge Gujarati. It's a whole mixture. It's not really Gujarati. It's just kind of different variant. I was like, no, I want to speak like a proper Gujarati, not a Khichdi Gujarati. And so the way that I kind of learned it, look, for me, what I had to do, because there were no books, no teachers, like there was nothing. What I had to do was look for patterns. All I did, like literally all I did, was look for patterns and test out patterns. Like the skaravu karavu. Like I just listened and listened, and I read as well. Reading can help. Sometimes it's easier to see a pattern than hear a pattern because it goes by so fast when you're listening, right? But I would do both, listening, reading, and I would just listen for patterns, read for patterns, like just obsessed with looking for patterns and seeking them out and trying to dissect what those patterns mean. I remember this one time I was trying to figure out, I could not for the life of me figure out, in the past tense in Gujarati, we have like me and hu. So hu kam, sorry, hu kame gayo, I went to work, or me kam garyu, I worked, right? So hu and me in the past tense, there's different variants. I was like, this is driving me crazy. I couldn't figure out. I had an intuition around it because I remember I grew up with Gujarati, so I had a certain intuition, which was nice. But I sometimes my intuition would lead me astray. It wasn't 100% accurate. I was like, man, I gotta like figure this out. So I would listen and listen and listen, and every time I heard someone use me, I had my phone, I had a notebook, I'd write down what the sentence was that I saw or heard, and every time I heard who in the past, I'd write down the sentence I saw and heard, and I would just like stare at these sentences, trying to find the pattern. Like, what is the pattern here? What the heck is going on? Once I thought I had the pattern, I'd write out my own sentences using the pattern, and I go show it to Gujarati people, being like, "Hey, can you look at these 20 sentences and tell me if they're correct?" And if I consistently got them right, that means I got the pattern correct. And that was something I really did. So the whole moral of that story, I mean, I guess there's two morals of the story. One is my hope is that these videos and these lessons can save you a lot of time, that you don't have to go analyze all these patterns. But second of all, so no one on earth for any language, like Gujarati, anything, no one, especially for Gujarati, nobody on earth knows all the patterns for the Gujarati language. Nobody knows them. I've learned a lot because I've studied them and I've listened and I've tried to figure them out. But that's a really useful practice just to get into as you use Gujarati in your life and you listen and you read and like just look for the patterns and try and piece out if there's a pattern that you're seeing. And you will see them. If you're looking for them, you will see them. If you're listening for them, you will hear them. And that's like, it's just such a good practice that to this day I still use. And to this day I learn stuff. Like there's some patterns I'm actively trying to figure out right now. Like I'm trying to figure out this one. Someone could probably just tell me. I don't actually know. There's a region of Gujarat that uses ka. They use the word ka, and I can't figure out where they're from. It's like where is that pattern from? I still don't know. Maybe if someone knows, you can tell me. There's a region of Gujarat. I don't remember which one it is, but I met a Gujarati speaker once who, in the past tense, everything was me gayo. Everything is me. I was like, wow, that's really interesting. Wonder where you're from. Like that's a pattern I'm not used to. My family, like the whole mane mare, like mane and mare are interchangeable in Gujarati, which is so fascinating to me. And it took me years to figure out that they're actually just pretty much interchangeable. મને પાણી જોઈએ છે and I don't know, let's do this. મને પાણી પીવું છે and મારે પાણી પીવું છે. If you ask Gujarati people, they're really interchangeable. It just depends on who you ask. મને પાણી પીવું છે, મારે પાણી પીવું છે. It depends on who you ask. It depends on who you ask. It depends on what part of Gujarat they live in. It really depends on who you ask. And sometimes you have people who go, yeah, both are fine. Like mane mare are often very, very, very interchangeable. It took me years to figure that pattern out. Like, oh my God, that drove me crazy for so long. I was like, what the heck is going on here? So anyway, let's wrap this up here. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys found this useful. See you in the next lesson. Aujo. Bye.